What's going on, guys? I was asked to do a video on MT. So, let's see what we have here. So I'm looking on the weekly. This is my first time looking at this thing. So if we were to go off of this here, and this, probably go off of these wicks here. That looks pretty decent, right? Yep. So you had this falling channel. You had this weekly death cross where the yellow crossed the red there and crossed the green and the blue, which puts you in the bear market. This is all on the weekly, so it happens very slow. And it looks like you tried to test this level, you dump back down, and then you create this beautiful W here. So let's see what we got going. So if we were to take a measured move to see what the price action has looked like here, let's take a look at what we got. So if we go off of there, the breakout target of that pattern was 24.83. And it looks like once it finally had a nice back test here of 12.83, that was your entry. Now that's the thing. I want to point this out really quick. So sometimes, you try to get in on the perfect entry on some of these stocks here, right? And I always talk about like an hourly close or a 4-hourly close. Now, another thing you can do here, when you have such a massive break like that, you can wait for the ultimate confirmation, which is a weekly close above your long-term support here, right? Because say you got in like, right here at 12.65. By the time this thing had a weekly confirmation here, it closed around 14.02. So yeah, you could have got in with those extra $2. But with a weekly close right there, even this weekly close really, 13.63, that would have been a beautiful confirmation. And whether you were in on this candle, or this candle, obviously you're in massive profits now. But if you were in on this candle, you had to withstand some of these dumps that you get in between. So that's another thing to think about when I'm doing these videos and I'm saying 4-hourly close, hourly close, because I'm a swing trader and I want to buy it from here and I'm going to sell it here and then I'm going to rebuy it maybe here and then maybe I'll long it up to here. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I do. But when you're trying to go on a long, like a real long, that's the kind of confirmation that would be even the safest confirmation is right here on the weekly close above this 50 EMA. It closed on this 50. Whether you got in here or even on this candle here, 13.55 was still the entry. So that's something to think about here when when I'm talking about these long breakout trades and stuff like that, sometimes I'll get them here and they'll pump up here and have a fake out, come back down, retest. And I'm watching all these little moves. You could just sit here on the sidelines and just wait. Green, red, green. Oh, that means very good sign. Boom, up. So anyway, that's just something I was just thinking in my own head is fuck. But, sometimes it's fun just to try to learn. So anyway, on the weekly, it looks like you got a golden cross here actually this week, which definitely caused this bigger pump here. If you look at the weekly right now, yeah, you're starting to get back up into this area here to watch for. So if you have your charts out, I would definitely put a trend line here. Personally, this is what I like to do. I put a trend line right here, and I'd say, personally for me, if this RSI gets up in this range, then I'm going to put a sell order in, because that's an easy way for it to get topped out right there. And as of right now where it stands, which of course it can continue up, and it probably will, this RSI needs to continue up. Right now, you're higher on the left on the RSI and lower on the right, which you're on the higher on the right up here and lower on the left here on the chart. So that is right now weekly bearish divergence, but it doesn't play out until you get a little kink in it. So, it's not really saying that it's something that needs to play out yet. And if we pop this TD sequential on here, it looks like you have a couple more weeks before a potential top comes in, which would be a red weekly TD9 flash. But you just want to keep an eye on some daily 9 flashes as well, because it might be close at this point. But that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So roughly 4 more weeks potentially of this. One way to look at it, right? Doesn't have to drop like that. And then on the daily, you have the same thing. Right now, you have bearish divergence on the daily here. What the fuck just happened? This thing just went fucking ballistic on me. So as of right now, there is daily bearish divergence as well. But, it's not confirmed yet. So this RSI has to continue up here to roughly this line to cancel out some bearish divergence running across there. And it can definitely do so. So keep that in mind. So, this thing had a decent correction here, which is a good sign that, even a drop here is not, to put the RSI into correction on the daily, you came all the way down here where you bounced, was really just a move from $25 to $20. $5 move, but that's not that bad if you're locked and loaded from $13. You don't even have to worry yet, So just consider that. So you created a falling channel here, and let's see what that break would be, because maybe this is a fucking, that's definitely a bigger fucking run than what I'm seeing right here, I'm pretty sure. So maybe it's that was the run right there. So that was the breakout from there. Breakout from there was roughly there, but that was but then it ran up in this rising channel here, and it actually broke bullishly out of this rising channel, which is a great sign for the bulls. So we had this rising wedge. So then you had this break of this rising wedge here that you are working on getting close to the target here of 27.81. And then one thing I'll always look at here is I'll look at the old peak here where you hit right in this area, and I will run that across there, and I'll bring it down to this wick right here. So I'll line that up there because that was an old resistance, and I'll pull that straight across so that you kind of have a good zone of support to think about. Now you can see that we got this daily close here above this support, which was the old all-time high. So it looks like it back tested that on the daily and got a close, which is right around 26.01. Let me check the 4 hour. But the targeted move out of this looks like it's 27.80. So you're pretty close to that targeted move here. So, you did have a 4 hour TD9 flash that you are currently ignoring. And it looks like it's in a little small rising wedge, which you see that they like to break out bullish, so I can't guarantee that it's going to break down. But I'll give you both side targets. I'm just going to base it off of a wedge and not off of a pennant or like a pennant. So if you did, in fact, break down at some point, you would have to break below 26.73 and get a close below. It can wick below, but it can't, if you had a drop here and you were looking for a buy zone, you could look at 26.07 potentially if you're looking for an entry. That would be a pretty good drop there. And then if it continues up here, you would look for a break of this trend line here, which looks to be around 27.45. And if you could get some confirmation on that by this candle here, then your break target of that would be 28.45. So, you know, keep that one in mind there. Do we have any bearish divergence on here? There is bearish divergence on here based off of this area and this area anyway. But if this thing continues up here to this line, then if it can break this line here, it can actually, you know, it can actually break that bearish divergence, but also you'd be in pretty oversold area there once you broke it. Let me look at the hourly and see if we see anything that looks like it wants to break. And then on the downside, if you were to break down here and you were still going to continue following this 26.88, looks like it's been bouncing off this bottom trend line here. And if this was a bull pennant and it's not, you know, a rising wedge, then you'd have an even better break here. But you'd have to get a confirmation break of that upper trend line there, which would be you'd want to get above 27.50, 27.50 confirmed. And then you'd look at 20, you know, you could look as anywhere from that 28.50 to 29.60 actually, if it does want to break out here, which I know, charge your phone. Which if we look at the RSI, does look like a bull flag or a bull pennant. Because another thing I like to do here is delete lines here that just get randomly scribbled. Another thing I like to do here is look at the RSI here and see if we can find a pattern in the RSI, because sometimes the chart will show you something and the RSI will show you something different. And then you go, well, is this a, you know, this looks like a potential head and shoulders pattern, or this looks like a bearish pattern, but what is it? And then you look at here and you go, oh, that actually looks like a bullish pennant right there, right? So you can see that when this RSI, or if this RSI can break here, then you can get that breakout. So I usually do that too. Like I'll look at this and I'll say, all right, we're breaking 27.40. I'll look at my RSI. All right, we're breaking this RSI. That's a breakout. That's a confirmed breakout too. That's another way. And let's see. And we had a MACD negative cross there. And you didn't really fucking budge. This thing's pretty strong. What the hell is this? So let's see. But, you know, one thing to keep in mind is this red TD9 flash, and you didn't correct from it yet, so you will pay for that. So if this does break down, I would look for that 26.07 or as low as a retest of this, which you'd want to turn to support here. You'd want to hold this 25.90 level. And then if we took a quick fib retracement for the hell of it here, go from this wick up to here. Boom. Well, 26.23 looks like, I mean, it could wick to that 26.07, then buy right back up to this 26.03, and then maybe work on creating a W or something, or a falling wedge or something that comes down here and then breaks. And if you want to see what's going to happen in the morning, you got a very massive buy volume. I mean, this is a 5-minute though. You can see we're just trending in here, and you know, for now, this kind of looks like, yeah, maybe it could be a head and shoulders, right? But I've seen patterns like that that look like that, and then they don't break. But are you gonna get a? Yeah, I mean, this is a 5-minute, so it's kind of like, what are you going to do here? I mean, you could actually say that we're actually moving up to that. It looks like we're moving up to that target there, honestly. I think it's going to go try to retest the 27.21 here. And, you know, that's an area that you want to keep in mind as well, because if you can break that, you're probably going to get a clean pump up to this trend line here at 27. Well, that's not very far, but 27.33. And then you'd want to look for a rejection again, because potentially, or a break, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with that. This thing looks pretty solid, though. I mean, It looks like it could still run some more, so keep that in mind. But then if, even with a breakdown, I'm saying, it looks like it could still continue running, even after a small pullback, if it does have one. It might just break out of here and just keep running the way it frickin' acts. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my take on that. I hope that helps. Hit the like button.